Welcome, friends from all over the Midtown Toronto and anywhere else who gets this recording. It's a very, very unusual circumstance and time for the entire world and for the Jewish people in many ways. This will be the first Shabbos, seems like it'll be the first Shabbos in my life that I won't be able to be in shul, to be in a synagogue, to be in a place together, to pray together with other friends of the community or friends of family and so on. It's very, very uncomfortable feeling to pray without being able to be next to the Torah scroll and open the Torah scroll. I'd like to start off with a prayer. I would like to do a prayer that may Hashem bless us and the entire world, that we should be able to pray in the shul, healthy, happy, without being afraid, and calmly here and everywhere in the entire world. Being that Shabbos, we will not be here in the shul, as it seems now, to give a Shabbos Dvar Torah, a sermon, decided to do a pre-recording of the sermon today on Thursday. Always like to start off on a light note. They say there was this guy who ran to his boss and he begged his boss for a raise. He said, I have 4 different companies that are coming to me and they want to, and they're coming to approaching me. So, maybe you could give me a raise, indicating that he has other options and other opportunities. So his boss said to him, you're working for me for 10 years, and you definitely are a great loyal worker, and I don't want to lose you. I'm willing to give you an increase of 10% to your salary. The man was overjoyed, and on his way out, his boss said to him, if you don't mind me asking you, who are these 4 companies that are coming and chasing you, that are looking for you? He said, my boss, let me tell you something. It's the gas company, it's the hydro, it's the electric, and my American Express and Visa credit card bills. Those are the companies that are chasing me. But we live certainly in a very, very challenging time with the coronavirus, the unknown parts of the virus itself, the spread and who gets affected by it, the ages, and so on and so forth, where in the world, how to protect ourselves. This is an ongoing concern now, and hopefully we will have the wisdom, and the medical field around the world will be able to come up with the right solutions, and we'll all be able to get back into our normal parts of life. Something about this Shabbos. On this Shabbos, it's the Shabbos before Rosh Chodesh. On this Shabbos, in addition to reading the final 2 chapters, the 2 portions, the 2 parshas of the second book of the Torah, of the book of Shemos, Vayakel Pekudei, we normally take out on this Shabbos a second Torah. The second Torah, we read a section called the portion of the month, the portion of HaChodesh. Over there, we declare God's instruction to the Jewish people that we should establish and announce this month as the beginning of the month, the first day of the month. And by knowing when the first day of this month is, you're going to know when the 15th day of the month is. And on the 15th day of the month is going to be the holiday of Passover. What is this month? What's the unique thing of this month? So the verse in the Parsha Bo tells us that what is this month? This is the month called the Chodesh HaAviv. In Hebrew, Aviv means spring. It's springtime. And the question that comes our way is, why the need for the Torah to tell us that the month that God took us out of Egypt, the month where we're going to celebrate Passover, is the month of springtime? Who cares what the weather was at that time? We all know that all the other holidays of the year, the Torah doesn't identify it, and it's not relevant to what the weather is of the year. We all know, for example, the holiday of Sukkot, it could be in October, it could be in September, it could be colder. Many times we sit in the sukkah and it's raining and pouring and it's cold and freezing. Sometimes, some years we sit in the sukkah and it's beautiful. But that's not relevant to the time of the holiday. The sukkah holiday is going to be when it's going to be. We have the holiday of Purim. Some years, Purim is in March. Some years it's in the end of February. It could always be in different times, but it doesn't matter to us what the weather is. Why the need to tell us here that Passover is in the month of Aviv, the month of spring? It's interesting that the fact that Passover is in the month of spring is actually very unique, because this means that we need to adjust our calendar every year in order to make that our calendar system should work in a way that the lunar calendar, which is the way the Jewish calendar works, we follow the cycle of the moon. The lunar calendar has to coincide and synchronize with the solar calendar, which means that every year we know that a lunar calendar is really a 29 and a half days. Every month is a cycle for the moon. So if you do that for 12 months, you're going to end up with, if you do the 6 days, 6 months of half days, you're going to end up with a year will be 354 days. The cycle year for the solar is 365 days. That means that our calendar system we will fall behind the solar calendar by 11 days every year. So year 1, we will be 11 days behind. Year 2, we're going to be 22 days behind. And year 3, we're going to be 33 days behind, which will mean that Passover could end up being around the time of midwinter. Since we can't have that Passover should be in midwinter, it has to be in spring. Therefore, we have a system that every 2 or 3 years, as a matter of fact, it's 7 out of every 19-year cycle. 7 out of every 13-year cycle, we will add a 13th month, a full 30 days. So if year 1 you fall behind 11 days, year 2, 22, year 3, 33, then we add a month, now we're ahead 3 days, and that's the way we do it. Every 19 years, the Hebrew calendar and the Georgian calendar, the secular calendar, will coincide together. So pretty much every 19 years, your Hebrew birthday and your English birthday will be the same date. Now, to do this, look how much we have to do. We have to alter our calendars. We need to have a Jewish calendar in the house. We need to be able to have access online to calendars. All this is just to make sure that Passover should be in spring. And more when you think about it. We all know, what is the holiday of Pesach? Pesach is the holiday that we became freed from 210 years in slavery, which 60-something years of that was real slavery in Egypt. We really had it bad. We were under constant burden. And we finally got out. Who cares what the weather was at the time? Why does the Torah have to emphasize that this was in spring? If you think about the generation just before us, the people when they Holocaust, and the people from Auschwitz, for example, they were finally liberated. What month was that? That was in January. Did we ever make a fuss that they were liberated in the time, the coldest month? Those people were happy to get out of the slavery. They didn't care what month it was. Why is it relevant for us to know the month that it was in the time of spring? To understand this, we will unlock the key to God's wisdom in what He's trying to teach us in all the times of our life and all the last 3,000 and so years since we were redeemed from Egypt. And more so, we should be able to derive the energy how to deal with the crisis that we're going through now. And that is, there's a letter that's published from the Rebbe, and over there, the Rebbe, in volume 4, page 267, over there, the Rebbe gives us a beautiful insight. And he says like this: when you study the way trees go and blossom, and the way the winter comes and goes, and then the spring season comes, we'll understand that it's precisely because of the winter, the difficulties of the winter. In the winter is hidden the greatest depth and truth that brings out the time of spring. In other words, the springtime does not come around without having this great effort of the time of the winter. The time of the winter when the trees seem like they're dying, the leaves are falling off the trees seem to be total barren, and everything looks like it has no life. The water is seeped under the ground. You don't see the water going into the trees. It's precisely then when the trees have that time of its life to gather together its own energy, its own abilities, that when the spring comes, it could properly blossom. If you ever see the way a tree starts to blossom, it's very, very slow. But then all of a sudden when spring comes, poof, in a short amount of time, it all starts to come out. This is what you call the winter. It holds the secrets to the season of spring. When we say to ourselves, what's so important about to know when we were left out of Egypt? Because it's springtime, and after all the tortured years of Egypt, who cares what's the season? The key is that all that time of torture was for a reason that only got to be blossomed later during the time of spring. And this is what's alluded to in this idea when Hashem tells us this idea. You know, we all look around and we look and we need to find at this time of the crisis time that we're going through, and this is the entire world. There was once a person that wrote a letter to the Rebbe and he asked, what's the difference of a Jew and a non-Jew? Ultimately, we're all human beings. And the Rebbe said to him, and it's printed in the back of volume 6 of the Seches over there, the Rebbe brings there that yes, it's true that every person is a human being and a valuable human being. That's why God created every person. But you have to look at the entire world as one body. All people as one body. Some people's function is to be the hand. Some people's function is to be the heart. Some people's function is to be the brain. Some people the foot. You can't expect the hand to be the function of the foot. You can't expect the heart to be the function of the brain, and so on. Every part of your body has a different function. And so too, it's with every human being in the world. Every human being has a purpose and a function that they need to do. With this virus, we see now that everybody, no matter what nationality, no matter what religion, no matter what kind of people or parts of the world, everybody is affected killing this because ultimately we are all one body and responsible for each other, to care for each other, and to go out for everybody to consider every human being as another part and function of your body. And maybe you're the heart, maybe you're the brain, maybe you're the foot. It's all possible. But we got to figure out and remember that every person is part of it. It's a very difficult time. We need to search for great, great depth to have strong faith in Hashem. Imagine a time like this. We all know people that have put in so much effort, and efforts that they put in, let's say over the last 10 years, they may have lost 30% of their earnings, their efforts, their investments. Very difficult time. You know, I remember once hearing that Warren Buffett, he's considered to be the guru of, investments, right? And he always says, when does he like to invest? When nobody else wants to invest. Because that's when everybody else is at the lowest point. That's when he comes in to do his investment. This is the way it is now. We have to cash in to our deeper strengths that we have inside us that you don't normally see that on such a low point. It's hard to imagine it. We know only a couple days ago, when all of us sent our kids to school, we took out a prayer book, made a prayer, and what did we ask from God? That our kids shouldn't touch anything or any germs or something that doesn't belong to them. The next day, all of a sudden, there's no school. And we prayed to God, what is this? Now our kids are home. We have to be home too. And all of us stay home. And we have all of a sudden now the time to study and be the personal teachers of our kids. Take some time, study, prepare them for the holiday of Passover or for other valuables. When did it ever happen in the history of our time, in our generation at least, that we could sit down, I could sit down with my wife, people could sit down with their spouses, and actually have a meaningful, beautiful conversation that you most likely never could even have on a nice summer day. So we have to utilize the circumstance that we're in now to cash in on it in terms of using out and the value that we could get out of it now to help us for the future. I never understood the prayer that they say in America, and we all want, and we realize that we need to have patience. We know we want to have patience, we want to be calm, want to be relaxed, and we know that Gamza Yavor, this will pass too, and what the plan is of God, why this is happening. Maybe we'll figure it out, maybe we won't, but that doesn't matter. We trust that Hashem has a plan here, and we will come out even stronger. The people in America always used to say, they say, God, please, I'm praying to you, give me a blessing that I should have patience, and give it to me now. This is the way we are. We're wired like that we need that blessing, and we really need it now. Let us be calm. Let us strengthen our faith in Hashem. Let us be a source of inspiration to the people that are around us. Let's not feel down. Let's take time to be happy. Let's read articles and do things that keep us upbeat, keep us positive, and we will all get through this together. I want to wish you all, wherever you're going to be for Shabbos, let me make a small suggestion. As tomorrow Shabbos comes in, look onto the websites, onto the internet, check exactly what time Shabbos enters tomorrow. Take the time, women, and bring your daughters next to you. Light the Shabbos candles. Cover your eyes with your hands. The most auspicious moment, the moment of silence between you and Hashem, and connect with Hashem and ask for all the blessings for your family, for yourself, for your friends, and for everybody near you. Let us take that moment to enter into Shabbos properly. Make kiddush on a cup of wine. Have some nice, fresh, beautiful challah, a beautiful meal with the family. Let's spend the next couple of days together, and let us merit to the days, as it says, Yom Shekule Shabbos Umenucha L'chai Ha'olamim. The day when it will enter in, Shabbos will be eternity. The world will be an eternity of peace and calmness, tranquility. Let us be today, now, and we will be able to have this month, the Chodesh, the month just as we left Egypt, and it was the time of spring. Let it enter into Rosh Chodesh, and from today, we're still in the month of Adar, with the time when we have joy and simcha, and we will go into the month of Aviv, and we will be together with everybody in Eretz Yisrael, in the Holy Land, in a happy and a healthy way, and for everybody around the world should have a happy and a healthy, and those that need the blessings for recovery, may it happen now, faster than you could even imagine.